Sarah, good morning.
Morning, Ben.
For the benefit of our audience that are listening to this or watching this, Sarah Stoute is the CEO and founder of Full Support Group that is based in Wellingborough. And Sarah, I've been an admirer of yours for many years, and we've become friends through business. I imagine you've had a pretty hellish start to 2020. How are things with you, Sarah?
Very, very busy. The whole team has been flat out, but personally, in terms of managing the global supply chain for the business and the products that we manufacture, it has pretty much meant 22-hour days, 7 days a week for the last 3.5 weeks. So, yeah, lack of sleep. But other than that, we're fine.
I want to come on to the global supply chain shortly, but just to sort of paint the picture for our audience, just explain the type of products that you're providing hospitals across the UK with at the moment.
So our company makes single-use medical devices and PPE, and in terms of the present pandemic, we are market leader in the UK for FFP3 respirator masks, and we provide all the training and fit testing requirements that go with those. We also provide face visors, single-use face visors, safety goggles, long sleeve thumb looped aprons, and things like type 5/6 coveralls with tape seams. So pretty much all the protective wear from head to toe that they would use either for surgery or for infection control purposes.
It's been well documented every day by the national press that the NHS that are just doing an amazing job are in some areas extremely short of product. With that, there's obviously challenges behind it, and from speaking to you earlier, there's some big global supply chain challenges. Just talk us through that.
So obviously we've got unprecedented demand, which has hit people quite quickly and taken a lot of people unawares. So normally in the UK, business as usual stock would be an amount in a hospital, and then there is a distribution chain. Most hospitals would use either a distributor or the national network through the present operating model through NHS supply chain, and they have depots all around the UK that store product. But it's generally fed in on a regular basis. And of course, if you have a spike of unprecedented demand, there is a lag between being out of stock and obviously being able to replenish, dependent on where that product comes from. Most of the medical devices and PPE now are produced in China, Thailand, Cambodia, and of course, it's not quick to get it over. You're talking 40-foot high cube sea freight containers, a lot of stock that's been required to be air freighted to speed up the delivery and cut out the logistic journey because people can't wait. So, the fact that this has hit everybody so quickly and these are high volume products has meant that there has been on occasion a shortage or completely stripped out, no stock of certain lines. Now, there are many companies that make these sorts of products, and they're all have been requested to mass produce and actually prove that they've got the stock, what the capability is, what the capacity is at the moment, how fast they can actually deliver containers to the door. And then obviously there's an analyst, analysing figures of what's required. So they're not relying on any one company to deliver. And we are one of those companies that are sea freighting and air freighting multiple containers of various lines, working with the likes of NHS supply chain and distribution in the UK to try and fill what is becoming unprecedented demand. So it's been very difficult. I know I'm in press and PR. So I say press. I'm in media, if you like. I'm not a massive fan of how some areas of the national press have reported on this crisis, but I do applaud the government for a lot of what they've done, because I think they're in a terribly difficult position. From your perspective, because you're obviously a lot closer to this than the traditional business owner, if you like, in the UK, are the government doing enough? Is there anything more that they could be doing? I don't think it's the fact that they're not doing enough. I think basically this wave of activity and the unprecedented demand and volume of product has taken everyone unawares. And so when you've got clinicians without PPE, and we've had many clinicians ringing, crying down the phone, everybody from ward nurses to consultant intensive care personnel, begging for PPE, willing to buy it with their own credit card because they've gone without.
Wow.
This has been a daily occurrence, but it's not that in the background things are not being done. It's the fact that there's a lag between a vast spike in demand, excuse me, a vast spike in demand, followed by activity in the likes of China to go to production. There have also been issues with importing because there have been various export bans from China on certain goods. So where they've needed product for their own market, they've actually stopped product leaving China. And of course, if we've been wholly reliant on China for that production, and they're saying that you can't get it out of the country, it's not even about how much we can make. It's about it being allowed to leave. So that's been an issue as well. So we have really been cut off from what we need because everything is manufactured overseas. It's become a real problem.
I think I'm conscious of your time because I know how busy you are. So I am very grateful for you taking the time this morning to speak with me. So just finally, Sarah, what can we do as a society? And whilst I'm talking to you from a local business perspective, you're clearly operating on a national and international level here. But what can we do as a society to help our NHS? And when I say society, I mean government in that as well.
Well, we are getting a lot of support as a company. I mean, you've got to imagine when you're going from your normal business activity to a huge amount of business coming in, there has been support from a cash flow perspective, a communication perspective. We've been asked on various occasions for our views on the global supply chain issues and have fed them back in because we do have staff employed in China. So in terms of asking our advice on where the pinch points are, what's going to be coming in the next 6 weeks, what do we foresee as an issue, we are getting that dialogue with government and being asked for our views and solutions for those problems. In terms of being able to help us as an SME, I think that potentially providing, we are now looking to charter planes, for instance, with the volume of product we've got coming over. We're doing that ourselves. That's us organising that. But in terms of the general public and everyone else, it's really just to follow what you're being told to do, to stay at home, to give the NHS a chance to care for people and in intensive care and have enough beds, because otherwise it's like a tsunami hitting them. They cannot treat and save everyone if everybody presents themselves as poorly in one go. I mean, this is very much about having a steady trickle of people coming through, being able to help as many people as possible, rather than having unprecedented volume of patients turning up and not having enough ventilators and staff to be able to care for them. So, you know, we are getting the help we need now in terms of cash flow, decisions, asking our advice, being able to talk to people in government. That is happening. I just think that we've got to play catch up with the lag of when this hit and when we can actually do something about it. There's been a painful period of not having enough PPE, the feeling that nothing's being done from a distribution perspective is not the case. It's just you can't turn it on in 24 hours. So when I look at the plan going forward, there are vast amounts of stock coming in, and obviously if we can help by staying at home and staying in self-isolation, then we can reduce that top of the curve, bring it down so that everything is more manageable. So I wouldn't say there's things that are not being done. This just hit us very, very quickly and took everyone unawares. Okay.
Sarah, thank you very much for your time this morning. I think the message to take out of that, to those of you that are listening, is that we as a business community very much need to strictly follow government advice. If you look into other reports, as I have done, there are suggestions that this is going to go on a lot longer than what it has done already, or that what the initial forecasts were. And for those that are listening on a national level, or maybe in certain areas of global supply chains or government, you may well want to contact Sarah Stoute yourself, and she's clearly very knowledgeable, got a lot of expert knowledge there and skills, and you may well want to contact her to maybe see if she can support you as we as a country look to battle and deal with this later on this year and no doubt into 2021. So that was Sarah Stoute, who is the CEO of Full Support Healthcare. FullSupportGroup.com is the website, and the main office, the number there is 01933 672 180. And that, of course, is a Wellingborough business in the heart of Northamptonshire that is very much supplying those NHS heroes with the tools that they need to perform the miracles that they're doing for us on a daily basis, and have been doing for many, many years. But now more than ever, they need our support as a nation. Sarah, thank you very much, and I wish you all the very best.
No problem. Thanks, Ben.